The Science Behind Climate Change, Facts and Myths, is a video that delves into the complex topic of climate change, aiming to provide viewers with a clear understanding of the scientific principles and dispel common misconceptions surrounding this pressing issue. The video begins by explaining the fundamental science behind climate change, emphasizing the role of greenhouse gases in trapping heat in the Earth's atmosphere. It explores the concept of the greenhouse effect and how human activities, such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation, contribute to the increase in greenhouse gas concentrations. The video then presents a series of facts supported by scientific evidence to establish the reality of climate change. It discusses the rise in global temperatures, the melting of polar ice caps, and the occurrence of extreme weather events as some of the observed effects of climate change. It also highlights the consensus among the scientific community that human activities are the primary driver of recent climate change. Certainly. Here are some key differentiating factors between facts and myths when it comes to climate change. 1. Fact. The overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree that human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, are the primary drivers of current global warming trends. This is supported by extensive scientific research, data, and peer-reviewed studies. Myth. One common myth is that climate change is a natural phenomenon and not influenced by human activities. However, the scientific consensus strongly supports the idea that human-induced greenhouse gas emissions are the primary cause of the current warming trend. 2. Fact. Climate change is leading to observable and measurable impacts on the Earth's systems. These include rising global temperatures, melting ice caps and glaciers, sea level rise, shifts in precipitation patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events. Myth. A common myth is that the Earth's climate has always undergone natural fluctuations, so the current changes are part of a natural cycle. However, the rate and magnitude of the current changes are far beyond what can be explained by natural variability alone. 3. Fact. Climate models, which are sophisticated computer simulations based on the laws of physics, have consistently predicted and replicated observed climate patterns. They provide valuable tools for understanding the past, present, and future climate conditions. Myth. Some myths suggest that climate models are unreliable and that their predictions cannot be trusted. While models are not perfect and uncertainties exist, they have proven to be valuable tools in understanding the complex dynamics of the climate system and have accurately projected future trends. 4. Fact. The impacts of climate change extend beyond just temperature changes. They include shifts in ecosystems, loss of biodiversity, disruptions to agricultural productivity, increased risks to human health, and threats to socioeconomic stability. Myth. A common myth is that the impacts of climate change are limited to temperature changes alone. However, the consequences of climate change are multifaceted and have wide-ranging effects on various aspects of the environment and human societies. 5. Fact. Taking action to mitigate climate change and adapt to its impacts is crucial. This includes reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, enhancing energy efficiency, preserving ecosystems, and implementing sustainable policies. Myth. Some myths suggest that taking action on climate change is unnecessary, too costly, or would have adverse effects on the economy. However, numerous studies and real-world examples demonstrate that addressing climate change can lead to economic opportunities, job creation, and a more sustainable future. 6. Fact. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, a leading international body of climate scientists, regularly assesses the scientific evidence on climate change and provides comprehensive reports to inform policymakers and the public. Myth. Some myths claim that the IPCC's findings are politically motivated or biased. However, the IPCC operates through a rigorous and transparent process, involving thousands of scientists from around the world, and its reports undergo extensive peer review. 7. Fact. Climate change is a global phenomenon that affects all regions of the world. It is not limited to specific countries or regions. Myth. Some myths suggest that climate change is a localized issue or that only certain countries are responsible for its impacts. However, greenhouse gas emissions and the resulting climate changes have global consequences and require collective action from all nations. 8. Fact. The impacts of climate change are not evenly distributed and disproportionately affect vulnerable populations, including low-income communities, indigenous peoples, and marginalized groups. They often face higher risks and have limited resources to adapt to changing conditions. Myth. A common myth is that climate change affects everyone equally. However, socioeconomic factors, access to resources, and geographic location can amplify the vulnerability and exposure of certain communities to climate-related risks. 9. Fact. While individual actions to reduce carbon footprints are important, addressing climate change requires systemic changes in collective efforts at local, national, and international levels. Policy changes, technological advancements, and international cooperation are essential components of effective climate action. Myth. Some myths focus solely on individual actions, suggesting that personal lifestyle changes are sufficient to combat climate change. While individual actions are valuable, they need to be complemented by broader systemic changes to achieve significant and lasting reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. By understanding these distinctions between facts and myths, we can engage in informed discussions, make evidence-based decisions, and take collective action to address the challenges posed by climate change. By distinguishing between these scientific facts and common myths, we can foster a better understanding of climate change and make informed decisions to mitigate its impacts and